So Mary-Louise, what was it like to sort of come back and regroup with all these people? Was it like the instant chemistry was right back?
It was pretty instant. It felt pretty natural. And Bruce even said it on the first day. He was like, I felt like we just finished 5 minutes ago. And kind of felt like that too.
Yet, at the same time, it seems like the time that has lapsed, your relationship is at a very different place than it was at the end of the first movie. Can you talk a little bit about what sort of happened sort of in between one and sort of where we opened in two?
Yeah, they've sort of settled into a life of, well, for her, it's a boring Costco, sort of like not what she really envisioned for herself. She was craving adrenaline and drama and excitement, and she ended up with this man who was very exciting, but who all he wanted to do was protect her and keep her safe, which is not what she wanted.
When Catherine comes in, she's a great sort of comedic foil, I think. And I think that first scene where you sort of react to her walking in is sort of brilliant. What was it like to sort of play off that with her?
It was so perfect to cast her. She carries such a sense of sophistication and glamour with her. So when she walks, sort of struts at you like that, it's pretty amazing. She was kind of the perfect person, and she's a lovely woman too. So it was fun to watch her.
Talk a little bit about you and John Malkovich's relationship on screen, because the chemistry and the dynamic, I can just when you look at each other sometimes, it cracks me up in the movie.
I love John Malkovich so much that it's almost embarrassing, but he's really the most unique man. He directs opera and designs clothes, and he's a brilliant actor and director. He speaks, language. He's just a very impressive man, and very passionate, and kind, and principled. And he also is just not afraid. He's not afraid to say his opinion, and when he's acting, he's not afraid to try something. He's not afraid of how he's going to appear or how he's going to look. And that's just really admirable to me.
It seems to me like your ease is, there's probably been, how much improv? Was there much improv with the two of you?
There was a fair amount of invention on the day between us, and Dean really encouraged that. And Dean is so lovely to be around, and just sort of was very free with saying, I don't know what's going to happen. Don't worry about that. We'll fix that later. Just try whatever you want to try. So he made us feel really comfortable just sort of making our own world together.
They say that comedy is really hard. And when you're doing an action movie and you have the romance and that comedy that's sort of screwball, but yet grounded in enough reality and to the last half, is it a tightrope to walk, or was it fairly easy because from the first movie it just sort of...
I think Bruce and I were so in sync about the vibe of the relationship, and not emulating, but sort of drawing from those 30s screwball Sturgis comedies, that kind of dynamic, that we both wanted that flavor. And I think that's what that kept it fresh and kept it fun for both of us.
In this movie, there's some interesting driving going on by you.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Well, I'm not known for my I am known for my driving, actually, which is not a skill of mine. But they created a sort of cave of sorts in the middle of the car where a man could sit and drive, because they couldn't have me drive. Because I'm a horrible driver. I couldn't have done the car chase scenes. And there was one scene where all I had to do was drive 50 feet, and I drove into a wall.
How did that go over on set?
So Dean loved it so much, and had them put it on a loop, so he could watch it over and over and over, and just each time with newfound hilarity. He just didn't seem to get tired of watching me drive into the wall.
And then what about the other newcomer, Anthony Hopkins, and Bayonne?
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins is someone I could just watch. I would love to see him on stage. I just feel like the luxury of watching him for 2 hours sort of would be incredible. And he even in the takes where I couldn't see his face, or he was behind me, or he was in half light, or across the room, he just is, and different on every take, and inventive, and invested, and he's a complex man, interesting,
And lastly, I want to ask about Helen, because I also think your chemistry together is really unique and interesting. There's almost this sort of, not mothering, but there's an interesting, when you first see each other again, you could just kind of in your eyes sort of see this connected light or something. I can't,
Yeah, she sort of took on this like maternal vibe with my character, which I thought was really brilliant, the way she did that, and it just sort of seamlessly. She invested a lot of it with that, the way she would dispense advice and the way she sort of treated me was, I thought that was inspired of her.
And all of the things like shooting guns and whatnot, I mean, because that's not what I think of when I think of Mary-Louise Parker.
Yeah.
Was that fun because it was so not who you are, or was it like, oh, I still don't like guns, I wish I didn't have to touch it?
I just hate them. I don't want to have to touch them. I liked, acting that part of the character and her dynamic with the weapons and how she feels about them, because it's so polar from the way I feel. But as soon as they say cut, I don't even want to touch it.
Totally understand that. And so there's a lot of talk about 3. Would you be excited to come back and go down this journey again with this group of people?
Yeah, sure. I would love a warmer location. Would be nice. That would be my only real request. But I would love it.
Great. Done. Thank you.
Thanks.